after this program this afternoon, 6:30 pregame, 7 o'clock tip-off. What is the third to last? Second to last is penultimate. What's the third to last?
Chernultimate.
Chernultimate. The Chernultimate matchup of the regular season here at home. The final homestand for the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Memphis Grizzlies, who are not a great team, but who knows what will happen. The Cavs have been on a bit of a skid. So 7 o'clock tonight, Grizzlies here with Town at the Robo Fijo against your Cleveland Cavaliers. All of it here on MMS and on the iHeartRadio app. Sorry. By the way, I'll give them props because I guess it's deserved. WJCU is the college campus radio station over there at John Carroll University, and they won Best National College Radio Station Award.
That's great.
It's a big deal, I guess. I mean, from way back in the day, I did college radio for precisely one semester, and it was after I had graduated college. And so it's certainly holds no big prominent part of my CV. But, and again, I don't know if JCU has notable alumni who have come out of that radio station. I don't know. But I've listened on occasion. JCU is at the non-com end of the dial there. They're at 88.7. But, we do a metal show here on The Buzzard, and we've been doing it for a little over a year.
Oh, you do? What's it even called?
It's called 2 Hours to Midnight. We do
that
it
sounds official. Okay.
Saturday. We were off last week because I was in Florida, but we're back this Saturday night, and it's a Saturday night metal show. We do, and we love to do it. It's me, it's Corey Roddick, it's Pat Butler. But over at JCU, Bill Peters has been hosting a metal show there for a long, long time. And so you got to give him props, too.
3 hours till midnight.
Well, his is on Friday nights. Ours is on Saturdays. But he does a good job over there. So I don't know. College radio is always a kind of a mishmash. When I was in college radio, it was a format. Because they were hoping, or what they wanted to do was, they wanted to prepare people if they wanted to have a career in broadcasting, because commercial broadcasting is very different than college radio. College radio for a long time was basically just they give you a 2-hour block of radio and you do whatever the hell you want to do with it, but nobody listens, right? Because it's most of the time it's unlistenable. It's like people sitting in their bedroom playing, but it gets people comfortable with the equipment or whatever. My son is currently doing some radio a couple hours a week at Michigan State University, and they are kind of formatted as well within the format there. They don't tell them what to play, but they kind of give them a few guidelines because the difficulty for a lot of people was coming from college radio and getting a job at a commercial station. They go, I don't know what the hell's going on. I thought I get to play my own music. And they go, no, because we're trying to get ratings. And you're not going to get ratings if you're playing your dumb 19-minute Fish songs. But I do have to give props to Bill Peters over there at JCU because he's done a metal show there for a long, long time. And so whether that plays any part whatsoever in them winning that award, I don't know. And again, I'd love to know if there are prominent people in broadcasting who came out of that radio station. I don't know. Now, back in the day, the college radio stations that were always winning these kinds of awards were like Villanova and Seton Hall out there in South Orange. And so for Cleveland's own John Carroll, isn't that a Catholic school, John Carroll?
Yeah.
It's not a big school. Our friend Chris Ty, who was here for many years and has been at Channel 2 in Chicago for a number of years, he's a John Carroll alum.
Gab went there.
Oh, Gab Cruz went there.
And same with Marcelo.
Marcelo Hernandez went to John Carroll University. Well, there you go. So the college has notable alums. I'm curious if the radio
station. He's got a comedy album coming out called 2 Hours to Midnight.
Have him call me, will you? And so I don't know if that radio station has any prominent alumni. But that's, again, I don't know what you get for that other than, a plaque on the wall or something, but it's a big deal to them. And, I like to, our brothers and sisters in broadcasting, it's not a small thing. Well, I'll tell you what, you want to live in this country, you better get used to one thing and one thing only, and that's murder. Murder most foul. There's a lot of it. It's become a cottage industry. There's no shortage of documentaries and podcasts. Mary reads her murder books. My wife listens to them, the figure-em-outs.
So good. I just finished one the other day.
What did you finish?
It wasn't very good. It's called Sharp Objects by
Gillian Flynn.
The same lady who wrote Gone Girl?
Yeah, a very prominent author.
Yes, and they made the Sharp Objects one a
This is about the woman who collects knives.
No. That is called Knife Collector. You're wrong.
Oh, so it was pretty on the nose then, that last one. It won the Juno Award, I believe.
Yeah,
Okay.
That's what I love about Mary. She's so quick.
Very quick.
Knife Collector is the
That's
one.
usually the thing people say about me. You're just so quick-witted.
Yeah, that's what you get with half a patty melt in your belly.
What are you going to do? No, it was okay. It was like I read it, I figured it out, as you're supposed to do, about halfway through, which is a bummer. Like, because with those books, you want to be guessing till the very end. And that's not how this one was.
Until the
Which
very
was
last
like,
word, if they're an
Yeah.
accomplished writer.
Mary, if you want to real figure them out, try dating a woman, right, Alan?
Oh, I'll tell you what, you ladies. Oh, hell hath no fury.
Where do you want to go to
Anywho.
dinner? Oh.
Figure 'em out.
Figure it out. I watched the documentary that was based on the real life Gone Girl that wasn't actually a Gone Girl situation. She actually was kidnapped, called American Nightmare on Netflix.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah, I finally watched it, and that is a very upsetting story.
It's wild.
Yeah.
So you didn't like Sharp Object. Had you watched the miniseries?
No, and it's not that I didn't like it. I just
You just figured it out too fast.
I figured it out quick, and there's some books that like every chapter something crazy is happening, or it keeps you guessing, or like this was not a quote unquote page turner. Like I would read it for a half hour, set it down, come back to it a couple days later. Whereas like some of my favorite books, I physically have not been able to put down. Where like I finish it in 2 4-hour sittings because it's so good. I'm like, okay, one more chapter. I just have to figure out what happens next. You know, this was not like that.
Huh. I got to hand it to people. Gillian Flynn, obviously, she's a very prominent author, but I watched a show. She was the showrunner for this thing on Amazon that I think only got one season called Utopia, about these kids who find out that this comic book is a real thing. And so they have to figure out it's Illuminati and all this kind of stuff. And she created that, was a showrunner for it. And again, I think I'm probably one of 5 people who watched it, but I liked it. But I'm always so fascinated by people, authors, musicians, who can crank out consistently. You know, you might get a couple of bass hits along the way of your career and have like a hit song maybe, but people who just crank books out and sell them. Because after a while, you're selling them based on your reputation. You know, I love Stephen King growing up. He's got a bunch of stinkers, but he's written so many great books. These people who just have these ideas, and they're all kind of within the same genre, obviously, but to have these ideas and crank them out and have people read them and enjoy them and buy them, and it's amazing to me.
They're one of my favorite author. Her name is Ruth Ware.
Oh, yeah.
And she was actually just in New York City. I sent her a message on Instagram.
Did she respond?
She did, because I saw her. My 2 favorite authors are Ruth Ware and Lisa Jewell.
She wrote
And
The
they were
Woman in the Cabin.
In Cabin 10.
Or Cabin
The Woman
10,
in
yeah,
Cabin
because
10.
I think my wife was reading that.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
And I messaged them and I was like, oh, you guys should, whatever. It doesn't matter. That's not important to the story. My point is that she has only been making books since like 2015, I think. It's not that long, like in the last 10 years. And she's written like 8 or 9 in 10 years. And almost all of them are like, this is one of the best books I've ever read. For me, you know, and again, she is my favorite author, but that I'm like, every year or 2, you're putting out a new book and a new book and a new book, and they're all awesome. Like, this is crazy.
Well, some people have an affinity for it. You know, they make a career out of it, obviously. Anyway, I digress.
You know how, oh, sorry, I was just going to say.
What?
You know how I was doing the celebrity bartending thing a few weeks ago?
Yes?
They actually have an author doing it tonight.
Is it Ruth Ware? Because otherwise
No.
Mary won't
Can't
care.
be Ruth Ware.
Oh, it's, what's her name? Something, what is her name? Not familiar with her work.
Paige Turner?
Sarah St. Clair.
Paige Turner.
Paige Turner's fine. There's that win. There's that win.
There it is.
I was going
There's
to say,
that quickness.
there was a half a second where I was like, God, that could be a real, either she's making a quick joke or that's a real author. Because Paige Turner's a perfectly normal name.
That's a normal name.
Yeah.
No, it's Sarah St. Clair, and she's doing a book
Now that's a
signing
porno name. Come on.
tonight. It says she's doing a book signing.
Is it a book about porno?
I don't know. I don't read.
What does the flyer say? The information that you're
all
reading.
I saw was she's doing a book signing, and that's all. And she's celebrity bartending tonight.
Sarah St. Clair. All right. Well,
Angels cried. Oh, no.
But murder most foul in this country, 2 stories that jumped out at me are the lawyer who killed. Did you see the one about the lawyers in Vegas, or the med student who killed his mom? So these are pretty wild. There's a guy, in Vegas. It's a very prominent attorney in Las Vegas, a guy named Dennis Prince. And he and his wife, Ashley Prince, were killed by another lawyer. This is in a deposition. This is in a room. Killed by another lawyer who was the woman's former father-in-law.
Well, that's wild.
All right, so
Do that again.
Okay,
Do that
follow
again.
me here. Okay.
Okay.
So you've got Joe Houston, who is another prominent Vegas attorney. Joe Houston is in a deposition with Dennis Prince, one of his Vegas peers, and his wife, Ashley Prince. Dennis and Ashley are married. Attorney on one side of the table, Joe Houston on the other side. Joe Houston used to be Ashley Prince's father-in-law.
Okay.
He's representing his son, her former husband.
Okay.
Her attorney is her current husband, this Dennis Prince.
Okay.
So the guy who's representing his son kills the other lawyer, the former daughter-in-law, and himself.
In the
Bang,
courtroom?
bang. No, like it's in a deposition.
Oh,
he was
but in like
this.
in a
This was
formal
part.
proceeding.
Yes,
Yeah.
this was
Wow.
part of a custody situation. So his
Well, then his son gets custody, it seems like.
but think about
I
that.
don't know, it worked.
They had joint physical custody and legal custody of the kids that they shared. But then Ashley Prince's lawyer, who is her current husband, filed a motion for sole custody. She had just given birth to a baby with the new husband.
Man,
her
this is
current
a
lawyer.
real bummer of a story.
So the lawyer goes in representing his son against his former daughter-in-law and her new husband, who is another attorney. Bang, bang, bang. That is bananas.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I didn't see that coming. I did not figure that one out halfway through.
So the lawyer and so the woman and her lawyer, the new husband, he's in his 50s, she's in his 30s. The lawyer who killed them, her former father-in-law, he's in his 70s. Older guy, older lawyer, goes in there representing his son, made sure that his son got custody.
He did.
Yeah.
I mean, who else is?
His son, Dylan Houston, was married to Ashley Prince for 4 years.
Because his son had, I imagine his son had no idea that his father was going to do this,
No.
right? He's like, Dad, I need a huge favor.
Could you do me a
This is big
favor?
one. This is a big one.
Son, I love you. I'll do anything for you. I got this deposition next week. What would you like? Is there any way? Now, I know my first thought was, are there not metal detectors anymore? Like when you walk in, just regular people walk into a courthouse or walk into the Justice Center or whatever
Were
the
they
hell
doing
call
this
it.
at a courthouse?
It was in a deposition. It was in an office.
Yeah, but I mean, an office is different than a courthouse. Like if they're doing a deposition at one of their offices, there's less likely to be a metal detector.
I guess so.
Whether if
I
they're doing
got-
it at a courthouse. There's probably going to be a metal
The initial
detector.
report looked like they were at a place that would have a metal detector, but I guess not. It must have been in one of the offices. They said that he was representing his son. Dad, could you kill both of them and then I'm so
Yourself.
sorry. Yourself? He was
That
representing
way,
his son.
I don't look like I planned it.
Right. I didn't do anything.
Shortly into the deposition, 3 to 4 minutes into the deposition, Joe Houston stands up, shoots both people across from him, and then kills himself.
He must not have been a very good lawyer.
He
He
shooed
did
away.
not. He did not believe
That's
in his
a pretty
abilities.
good lawyer. This guy's he's doing the most. You kidding me?
No, he's. I would say that's more dad stuff than lawyer stuff.
Oh, yeah. It
lawyer
didn't matter
wants
if
to
he
get
thought he
paid.
was going to win.
Yeah.
He was doing this pro bono, I'm sure, for his son. They said the victims obviously were very specific targets, noting that the lawyer had shooed other people away from the office at the time. Imagine that. Hey, you guys aren't going to want to be here in, I don't know, 3 to 4 minutes? You guys want to find a safe place to hide? Because why? Oh, I'll tell you what, these hearings can get pretty contentious. There's going to be a lot of verbal bombardment going on in there. I wouldn't want you to get hit with any shrapnel. Wink, wink. But imagine that. The guy he killed, the woman's new husband, Dennis Prince, very prominent attorney there in Las Vegas. They called him a litigation superstar.
I'm getting more Lionel Huts vibes.
You may know me. No, I'm Lionel Huts. I'm thinking of what's his name? Who's the other? You may know me
You're
from
thinking
such
of
a
Troy
McClure.
Troy McClure, yeah.
I'm Troy McClure. Lionel Huts quotes, Mr. Simpson, I was just going through your garbage. And I get to keep the...
It says no money down. No, they got this all wrong. No, money down.
Commas save lives. Lionel Huts. Oh, the late, great Phil Hartman. Speaking of getting shot.
On Judge Snyder.
Is that bad?
Well, he's had it in for me ever since I kinda ran over his dog.
You did?
Well, replace the word kinda with the word repeatedly and the word dog with son.
Oh, boy. Lionel Huts.
Son.
And then the other thing that jumped out at me was this kid in Florida, a kid who had just graduated at the very top of his medical school class. And he went home to visit his mother. I guess he told her he was going to be in town down in Florida. I said he was going to see his grandmother or something. He had gone to the University of Florida in Gainesville and had traveled to the town called Frostproof, Florida, and he was going to stay with his mom. And he just told cops later on that on the way down there, he realized how much his mom had been pissing him off, and he was going to kill her.
Huh.
He killed his mom. He knocked on the door. She opened it up. And when she did, again, I don't know why you'd knock on the door of your mom's house, whatever. And he was visiting her, knocked on the door. She opened it up, and he stabbed her 70 times.
That's so many times.
They were talking to him afterwards, and he's like, my mom and I had a good relationship, but you know what? She really got on my nerves, and I decided on the way down that I was going to kill her. Stabbed her without
70.
provocation. Well, that's when you're mad, boy. You know, when they have these like, oh, we got shivved a couple of times, you know, these cases where they just want to make sure this person is dead.
No, that's not they want to make sure they're dead. They're angry.
Well, yeah. That's why these MEs are always they're always like, yeah, they got stabbed 70 times. 65 of them were post-mortem. You know, they were long dead, and he kept jabbing her.
Well, just the energy it takes to stab somebody. Do you
To
know what I mean?
repeatedly do.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
75, like
Yeah,
your arm, and like
rage.
that's cardio.
Yeah.
They got all of it on the doorbell cam, so that's what shows what's happening. He had a small knife in his right hand, hidden behind
New
his
ring
back.
ad coming.
What's that?
There's a new ring ad coming.
Yeah. Make sure you don't get stabbed 70 times with the new ring. His beautiful mother, who was so excited to see her son, opened the door. The second she did, he charged in and started stabbing her, and he kept doing it until she fell down and died. He told detectives that he knew where to stab her for maximum effect because of all of his biology classes from medical school. He cut his hand in the stabbing. They say, too, that happens a lot. There's always cuts on the hand of the stabber because there's so much blood that it slips in your hand. So you can't hold on to the handle. So you're going to invariably cut yourself when you're stabbing somebody that many times. He went to the kitchen sink to wash himself and the knife off, and it occurred to him he was going to ask his mother for the Neosporin, but noticed that she was dead. And called 911 and told them what had happened. He said that he loved his mom, but that she irritated him. He said, I've wanted to kill my mother for many years because she got on my nerves. And they said, what was your relationship? And he said, about 8 out of 10. Imagine if it was 7. Stabbed her 75 times. He made up his mind on his way from Gainesville to her home that he would murder her. There were no drugs, there were no alcohol in his system, and they had no arrest record on the guy and no history of mental health or abuse issues. Valedictorian of his medical school. By the way,
Wow.
I don't know how
this is insane.
It's a wild story, and people are like, "Oh my God, he was a summa cum laude," and this whole thing. I'm like, I don't know how we have this notion that because somebody's smart, they could be a psycho. By the way,
Well, most psychos are smart.
what's I'm saying? Like, is
Well,
it
not all of them,
mad scientist is a trope in books and movies, and you know,
Yeah, but mad med student. That's
still
not.
science.
But there are a lot like Dr. Evil. I think there's
Well,
some-
wasn't he a doctor of psychology? I don't know if that.
I mean, but it's still like he went through the paces.
where did
That's what
Dr.
I'm saying.
Evil matriculate? Where did he go?
I don't know.
Oh,
He was Dutch, wasn't he? He was
Something
raised
like
by
that.
Or his, what did he say, 14-year-old love slave with web feet?
mm-hmm.
A Dutch chocolatier or something like that?
So this guy will never. My thought is, if you really know how to stab someone for maximum effect, it would take very few stabs to kill them.
Right, but he
So-
he
That's
wanted
the
to.
He was
rest were
mad.
For,
Yeah, the rest were just for
Him.
Bonus stabs.
For him. Have a couple of bonus stabs.
One way to get out of your student loans.
They don't follow you through prison?
I mean, how are you going to pay them? What are they going to do? Put you in more jail?
Yeah, they're gonna garnish your license plate
Yeah.
wages. Hey, you know how you make a nickel a week? It's gonna take you 4 million years to pay us this money back. That's the long con. Maybe this guy is a genius. I'm not waiting for Joe Biden to pardon my student loans. I'm gonna murder my mother. Pretty wild though. But think of what an asset he'll be in the joint. You know, get him on the inside.
The stabby guy?
No, a guy with his knowledge. You know, it'll only take him. I mean, in the immediate blush of something like this, obviously, once his brain's not in a froth anymore, he's going to be like, oh, my God, I've killed my dear mother. And he's going to spend the rest of his life in prison probably, you know, but he'll be a doctor in there.
No,
help out.
He was pre-med.
Huh?
He was pre-med. I don't think he's...
It said he graduated top of his class in medical school.
Oh, I thought he was still pre-med.
That's what I read. Anyway, I got a break. Murder.
Hey.
Don't do it. I got to take a break here. If you want to send a text, 35192. You can watch live at alancoxshow.com if you like. Listen anywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
Rover's Morning Glory.
I went to Chris's friend's house and I walked in and it was the smelliest place I've ever been in my life.